Okay, what we're going to look at today is one of my more successful things I have in competition, which is half octopus guard. It's called half octopus guard because it's based on octopus guard, which is a position that very rarely happens, which is this. It's Eduardo Teles's thing. Basically, it becomes back takes and shenanigans and things from there. He gave it a cool name. I've never seen anyone really use it very much, and it's kind of a transitional position. From half guard, I like it a little bit more because it's easier to get to, and getting to here from close. I mean, it becomes like an arm drag thing. You can hip out, you can do some things, but I've never seen him do much with it. He's more of a knee bar guy. But still, it's the same movement, but applied from half guard, i.e., getting to here. Okay. So, important things first of all. The angle of your body. If I start over here, it's going to be basically impossible to ever get to that side of his body. Now, even if he gives it to me, if he switches his arm across to here, it's still way too far away to make things happen. Okay, so what I tend to do is I start out this way a little bit more. My grips might be here and here. Sleeves, sometimes I go cross grip, whatever. But I'm trying to get myself a little bit closer to this leg to encourage him generally to try and do a switch pass. This is a standard counter for the big fat guys we all hate, who just do this, and then do this, and we don't like this, okay? We all hate this. So, generally we're going to have a knee shield up to begin with. Again, different ways. We can be high, we can be low, we can be violent, whatever, but we have our distance control here. Okay, when he begins to try and make that transition, or again I can force it, we'll begin with him just trying to switch over. My hand comes behind here, I duck through, and then I remove the leg, making him fall forwards and putting him in regular half with my grip over his back. Okay, different grips we can have here. You can go deep up on the armpit with your elbow on his head. You can go on the belt with your elbow on his head, or you can go on the pants with your elbow on his head. Okay? Any of those are fine. What we cannot allow is to be here and for him to come round with the other hand and tear my face off. Okay? This is a very bad day. So, once we get to this side, for me, a lot of the time I will go just up on here and heavy, or on the belt here. These give me the best sort of balance of control. Now, so first of all we need to get here, we need to comfortably avoid him peeling our face off. So I can't be at this kind of angle too far away, just makes too much space for things to go wrong. So, first things first, yeah, I have my knee shield. Again, I'm not on this side. This side, it's more natural to go to here. Other side, it's more natural to go here. Well, knees up, clear it, here, here. Pretty much the whole time, my foot is keeping his knee pinned to the ground here. Again, I can't leave it out, because the problem is, if I do, he will put his knee upwards, just straight vertical, just pop it up, just straight, like there. Yeah, and then, again, I start having trouble here, I lose that control. So I need to pin the back of his knee to the ground, heavy, with my shin here, and we're back up on the back here. Now, there's basically two major sweeps we can do from this. There's a bunch of different variations, but the first one I'm going to look at, I'm going to try to basically stretch him out a little bit. So I have my grip. Usually this hand, I'm going to take it to the pants grip. Here, you can do other ways, but this is the easiest. And I'm basically going to throw him on his face. Okay? I throw him forwards, his hands come out to stop it, that's fine. And I put him here. So this pulls here, this pushes, and this opens up a lot of space at his legs. And most importantly, it drops his hips down a little bit and stops him being so postured and straight up. Once I'm here, it also opens up some space and allows me to do this. This is the important part. This is the thing. If you can't do this, this is not going to work unless you're way bigger and stronger and better. Okay? So, because in the end, what I'm going to end up trying to do, there's a bunch of variations, is basically replace my guard. Okay? This leads to back takes. There's tons of variations. But for that to happen, I need to make sure I have control over this knee the whole time. So if I don't get there. If I get to my side, again, he brings his knee up, has foot, and I start doing stuff like this. This is not going to happen until I can establish this actual hook behind the knee. So I want to keep it pinned to the ground, and I want to get my heel over the knee here and here, and just basically pin it down from there. So it should be difficult for him to pop his weight up and start trying to raise it up, because I have that hook in quite tight. For those who are a bit more comfortable with these more advanced half guard, you can go down to lockdown as well. It does the same thing and it stretches them out a little bit more. Often it's a little bit easier, but it does put you a little bit flatter, so it's harder for some people. You can try both, single hook or lockdown hook. It's the same thing basically. Here and here. Okay? Now, basic version for now, I'm going to just throw him on his face again, push his leg in, and trap. So I've got basically both of his legs pinned together. Okay. So basically, either I can try and turn to one side or I can hip out to his back. Those are the movements. So, out, belt, here, pants if we can get it. Remove the knee, throw him on his face, step. Okay, now we're in tight. Knee can come out here if I need it to, but for now we're just going to pull, push, and then if we can, we cut the knees together here. Okay, if you've got really long legs, you want to do this kind of shenanigans, that's fine as well. But in general, I keep them turned together, pin his knees together, and I just base out and do a hip bump all the way to the mount. As an added bonus, I end up on top of this arm, so a lot of other transitions become possible later on from there. So, that's the idea, okay? So I'm going to slow it down a little bit, I'll just throwing stuff at you. So, normal half guard, feet crossed, knee in the middle, positioning on one side, whatever. To begin with, we'll do it as a reaction. He goes to switch across. Again, if he goes to switch across my arm, which is fairly common, I can't allow this because it puts my shoulder flat, so I'm just going to duck inside it here. Okay? If he goes across my hips in the first place, it doesn't matter. Fine. Fine. Okay? You can, again, you can initiate the whole thing yourself. There's a bunch of other options. You can work on the sleeve, you can sit through, you can use your head, you can go Kimura, sit through, all variations of the same thing. So, for now, I'm on my side, my knee's in heavy, he goes to switch over the arm for now, it's fine, switch it there. I sit through, belt, pants, drop. Open him up as much as we can. Leg switch, heel behind. Okay? At this point I should be pretty much okay. It's only if he can get his knee out of here that I begin to have trouble. I have enough control of most things. Again, I pull her through him on his face. I'm using my hips, not just my hands. I can't do that.
Do you want to lift my leg off the mat?
Preferably, I want to make it light. Again, if you, other variations, I find this the easiest one to start off with. You can just leave it there and replace as well. You can do horrible knee twisting stuff. But what I'm looking to do is to push you forwards. Free, push, strap. Once these are both pinned together, he's basically stuffed, to use a technical term. Elbows still here, hand down, turn up, go back in. Most important thing with this last part here, so again, I have the hook in, I pull, I push, make sure that you cut your leg through his knee to make his knees go close together. What you don't want is if you open your knees wide, like here, this here. This makes it impossible to make that happen. Okay, you're still here. Again, if you're bendy, you can still hit. You can go body triangle, you can do other stuff. But for this version, we're looking to try and get that together so he has to react instantly to what you're doing. It's just too dangerous and compromise the position. So, feet crossed. Again, collar if you want, you can be here, you can be here. He goes to switch, hand under, sit, belt, drop, stand. Okay, heavy with the heel, guys, and it has to be at the knee, not down at the foot or anything here, because then again, he can, if you knee cut, just rather than step out, just knee cut across me. Yeah, again, I can't hold that if I don't have the knee. If I have the foot, the knee will twist. If I have the knee, I'm kind of in the way for most of the movement. If you want to, lock down. There's tons of variations of everything, but this is the easiest one, I think. Pull, push, cut. If you want to lock it, you can, it's fine. Hip up, down, here. Basically, this is your hip bump to mount, but again, he will sometimes, he'll open his base out to different things. We can go to the back, I'll look at that in more detail afterwards. But this is the standard half octopus mount suite, or whatever. Good names on there. So it can be here and here. Sit, belt, pants, drop. But again, make sure this stretch is happening as much as possible. And we don't want him to bring that knee in tight to me. Again, if we're here and here, this is annoying. This is awkward straight away. You can still work with it, but it's just harder. And also, the whole time, my chest is turned here. If I'm flat, you don't want to be trying to do this now. It's okay, but I have much less control over the leg. My shoulders are much less turned. So I step over, my chest is looking down at the ground, and my hip is turned in, so we have minimal space here. Pull, push, cut. Lock or not lock, it's fine. At this point again, there's basically nothing he can do to deal with this. I've got too much of a bump over, and if he defends this by going forward, which he can do, he's going up in a bad place nearly every time. Anyway. Okay, so one last time. Get to it. Well, again, basic positioning, defending. He goes step over, sit, open, step, pull, push, cut. If you want to, again, just slide through, arm, Kimura, whatever else after. Good to give that a go. Again, it's a little different, but any problems, grab me, and we'll work it through. There's only going to be 2 basic techniques and some tweaking, so we have time to answer questions. All good? On 3, 1, 2, 3. But there's still variation in the same thing. Mr. Pedersen. Easy, please. Okay, so just a slight adjustment here for people when you're doing it on someone who's much heavier than you. You may not be able to get the stiff arm on the leg. That happens. It's fine. So if I get here, the important part of demonstrating things for people who are much heavier than you is to use someone who's much lighter than you. It helps a lot. It makes it much more convincing. So if I get to here, and maybe the knee is too close. Again, he opens his knees early, and I can't establish this. I try to do this, I end up flat. It doesn't feel too good. Okay? So if I can't get the grip and the extension, my elbow will come to the inside, and I'll push a little bit away. Foot still comes in. Now, if I still can't easily get this, my arm's kind of awkward, then I'm just going to wipe my knee in. Here. I might have a moment to get this now. It's going to be a little bit harder because I don't have that real stuffing of the leg and the momentum from that, but it does get you to the same position overall. If I'm still on my side, this cut is still very doable and the sweep is still the same. But just a quick variation. If you go back a second, step over. Yeah. So if I get to here, I want to make it happen. I use this instead, but I can't get the real stiff arm on the leg. Inside. Wax on, wax off. Slide down and get to here. And then try to hip out a little bit more and come around to here. If I have that positioning on the knee, the leg is straight. We cut straight away and we make it happen. Again, if the leg opens up wide here, just open both your knees completely. Yeah, then I can't do that. Then we're going to go to the back. We'll look at both of those variations afterwards. So this is just a tweak to the first one, basically. So one more time. So if I get to here and you just feel that this knee is just too close to you, just hip like all the way into my chest. Here, you can't push it away. You might be able to, if you're like Dougie, whoever you are, you can take an illegal grip on the inside of the pants. That sometimes helps. If you go lower, that's fine. But in the end, you generally want the knee. So you may start here, push a little bit, and try and get up to the knee afterwards. But if you can't, try and get an elbow to the inside, push a little bit, switch, switch. It's basically the guard plate. This way you're slightly more likely to end up towards his back because you've got to make that little replacement so your hip goes to this side instead. But for now, go back afterwards and make that cut, and we'll do the 2 back take variations afterwards. So just a quick version, same idea, one more time. Yes, if I get to here, it's just too close. If I can't even make that, usually you can still make this happen with some work. But if you can't even do that, boom. There. Again, so don't just try and bring the knee through. Use this both at the same time, kind of wiping it out. And then for now, just drive your knee away, push his leg back, cut, and over again. It's going to feel a little bit more awkward than the previous one, but sometimes you're forced into that position because of them being too tight to you. Just like 2 or 3 minutes on that, because it's the same thing, and then we'll move on. All good? On 3, 1, 2, 3. So most of the time, that's what I'm going for first, because you need them to start reacting to that to make other things happen. So now, the back take from here, again, a bunch of variations, but it starts all the same way. It's the same setup. Again, if I can do what I did before, I make this all happen, and I get this set up. It starts off with the basic sit-up here. He puts his weight forward on his hands or whatever, and then now I can't go this way anymore. So all I'm going to do now is pull his weight forward a bit more and move my butt out. Okay, if you've got much longer legs, I'd say go straight to the body triangle. You might as well, you're already here. Tight, tight. If you're a little bit looser with it, slide this one out. You may go to single hook here, or you might get one and then come around, the second one in directly. Both ways are fine. All 3 ways are fine, whatever. Yeah, so basically, here, stuff, here. If we initiate with this, again, he has to react really strongly to defend against this. He's already so compromised there, so his weight has to come forward hard. So there's tons of space here to move around. Try and leave this foot in for now. Again, I'll look in a second at what to do if the person's much heavier. Because if they're way bigger, if you bring your knees again wide, it's very hard to make that transition around here. We need to change up a bit. But most of the time, again, you just throw him forwards and you escape your hip hard towards this side. If you need to really sit up, you can make more distance or not, it depends. Well, stay on there, okay? Then keep this pressure on the head and you can just hip away. Harness. There we go. Okay, if you want to slide that off now, fine. Again, if you have relatively lanky legs, which I do not, straight to body triangle, you're all fine from there. If not, keep adjust around, slide a little bit more, 1 hook. If you lose the top one now, cross your feet up, hooks in secondary, or again, if you keep it there the whole time, just move around a little bit, and place both hooks.
You kind of expect me to be like that, right?
Yeah, usually. If it gets to here, and generally you cross your feet, you stay tight, you push your hips through their spine, and then drive the second heel back in. It's your normal thing to do if they go straight to there. But if you're already here, because my foot's here, you should come straight to here straight away, should be fine. But again, what will usually happen is as I adjust this one in, this will stay on the outside, and I'll end up with one hook and the feet crossed here. Pinch your knees together, you've still got all the control, and then to put the hook itself in, chest on back, drive the hips all the way through, pull his body backwards, and then take the heel, drive it through as hard as possible, and there's your back control from there. Sometimes it's a lot easier than that, but that's the sort of having to work at it sort of stage. So, arms it through, catch, it may take a bit of time to find this in. If you find you can't get to the knee right now, again, push away, you may need to work a bit more, get the heel through, open out, go lock down first, whatever. Start to sit, extends. Okay, it's a little bit of a scramble, but he's so compromised you should win it nearly every single time. Every now and then you might lose it, they might go into some crazy leg lock roll or something, but in general you're just so far ahead of them, there's not much they can do about it. So all you're doing, really, you're just replacing your guard and then keep moving. But make sure you're pulling the head forwards a bit. Don't just start trying to go around them like this. You've got no movement. You need to take the weight off their legs, and that's done with that final pull position. If you really want to, just smash their head into the floor. It will make everything a lot easier, okay? Well, I forget who I'm quoting. Might be Reinhold, can't remember. Anytime you want to sweep someone, try and throw them on their face, okay? Either they land on their face and you probably sweep them, or they put their hands out so they don't land on their face and you probably sweep them. Simple, simple. All good? All good. On three. 1, 2, 3. I'm not heavy. Yes, you are. As the heaviest man in the room. Okay, so we get to this side here, and we can make all this stuff happen. We can get the hook in, and we want to go towards the back. But say sometimes we get to here, or we get even earlier on, and we can't move our hips at all. Again, usually it's because he opens his hips up and just goes knees on the ground. And we get to here, and now my hips go flat, and suddenly I've got no mobility. And again, worst case, you just go, okay, that was a shame, and you get your closed guard. That's not bad. And sometimes you can keep the arm drag, you can start coming around. But the issue is, as people get heavier, they start to sort of sit back in themselves more and more, and they become one unit here. And it becomes harder and harder to break that. Okay, so you can't just manipulate them. If they're heavier than you, you can't just go, okay, I don't like this, I'm going to move you. Okay, unfortunately. So what we have to do, if we do get to here, we have to be a bit more mobile ourselves. So what we're going to do, I've got to this weird, awkward closed guard position. I'm going to use this foot here as a butterfly hook. Okay, because I can't go around him again. His hips are wide enough that my turning circle is too big. I can't go over anymore, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to put my foot on the ground, going to hip away, and place a single butterfly hook in here, okay? And then all I'm going to do is, rather than going around his hips, I'm going to go around his hip. One hook, okay? So you're basically, rather than trying to go around the whole of this, you're just choosing one part of the body and rotating around that. There's a little bit more space, so if you mess it up, you can just crush your face on the way through, but this is always the case, unfortunately. So, but yeah, basically, and again, if he's much heavier, you can do this in earlier stages. I can do this when I'm here. Sometimes even if I'm here and here, I can make these transitions a little bit earlier on. It's all the same kind of idea. It's just rather than trying to go around him, which is always tighter, it gives you better control, and if your legs are long enough to allow you to do it, I would always recommend doing it that way. But if they're much bigger compared to you, you just don't have that mobility because you've sacrificed too much of your movement for the control. Sometimes you need to give up some control to get the mobility. So I'm here and here. Sometimes it can be at this point, wherever we happen to be, and I just realize it's not going to happen. Again, I get stuck here. So again, I can scoot away, hook comes inside, I got my first here, okay? I can count to butterfly, whatever. Single hook behind, around, here and here. Later on, sometimes if you want to get really flash, if you just stay on both knees for a second, if you bring both your knees in, so back in, you can go to here, and you may find you want to start doing cool stuff, and you can start your rolling back attacks, whatever. But again, for those who like their rolling leg locks and stuff, you get straight to that sort of cross back control, so you got lots of banana splits and shenanigans. But yeah, so for now, yeah, there can be lots of other ways to get here. But again, I get my positioning, everything's okay, but I just get stuck, okay? I try to get this leg out, but I can't go any further. Hook in, here and here. Keep the hook kind of strong with the feet. Don't just leave it here, because otherwise you're just going to backstep over you and you look really, really silly. We don't want this. Okay? Well, if you can, again, try to get the first point of control here before sacrificing the other side. But sometimes you still let go of both of them. It's just a shame. But yeah, here and here, and then now don't try and go around them anymore. You just pull, hook straight to one, pull. Okay. So you're never going to come to the triangle anymore. If you do come to back control as before, hand switches before, boom, cross feet, or full back control from there. It's basically exactly the same thing, but just rather than being over the knee, you're on the inside. Some guys will do this the whole time with the butterfly. I just don't like the potential for that to go horribly wrong if you don't have control over the knee. But again, if you are the much smaller person, you've got very good mobile hips, you work with that, sometimes it's better to do the whole thing that way. If you feel that foot behind is harder, do the whole thing with the butterfly. Just don't come to me when you try and do it and the person steps over and mounts you or something else. Okay, so both ways are valid, but I'd only do this as a secondary option after you've failed to get out. You want to move, but you're too stuck because of this lockdown here. Come to one side, and then focus on this part rather than that whole expansive booty. Okay? Can we give that a go, please? On three. 1, 2, 3. Allow us to be forced to look up at the ceiling here. This is death, okay? I have to stay looking at this side here. Okay, he's got this here. But in the moment that he sinks this in properly and flattens me, we're done. This arm gets trapped. We're in world of trouble here, okay? So what we have to do, when this goes wrong, the hand comes in front of the face. If I'm really good with the pressure, I might be able to bring him down. But as soon as he has this hooked, I'm pretty much done. So what I have to do is transition with what he's doing. So again, I'm going to basically bring my elbow out, bring it in across his body, and then come around, down hook on the other side. Okay? Now again, you should be aware you can also do the transition in reverse. So if I get to here, some guys will try to counter this by sitting across here and here. You can go back to the other side. You can switch the two pretty easily. But this is the specific problem here, is I cannot try to bring my arm through here. My shoulder doesn't let me do that. Most guys here aren't going to be able to get this through here. So you bring your elbow out, tuck in, and then see my knee on this side here now comes up to here. So if I go back to the full position we had, it was all going really well, and he catches my face. Here, 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 and then back in, and you can play a regular underhook half pretty much straight away. But you just have to think about how your elbow moves. You can't try to dig it back out. Your shoulder won't take that. If you've been training jiu-jitsu for more than like a week, your shoulders don't want you to do that. So, tuck into the body. Here, and then I'm basically nudging him across to my elbows on this side of his body, and then coming around to here again. Again, this might go a little bit wrong. You might get stuck and have to bail out to normal half. That's fine. But you can sometimes go, because the first thing you did was get him forwards and out of position. He hasn't dealt with that problem yet. Even if he has my face, he's still stretched up. So, other things can happen off the back of that. It's never going to be as easy as that. There's going to be a big fight, but you get to go from, okay, this has gone terribly wrong, back to at least a valid defensive position or offensive position, depending how it goes. So the movement is just, you're here and here, and then you move this way a little bit, and then nudge into the other side there. You can do the same back the other way. If he leans across you, elbow in. There. But you have to make it small and tight, and don't try and use your shoulder and elbow in isolation. It won't work.
I feel like you're even using your knee a little bit.
Yeah, the knee for the bump as well helps a little bit for that last adjustment round there. Because I can get the position, but I still need to bring him forwards. Once I'm on this side, it's still gone wrong. I still need to use a little bit of a re-angling. So my elbow tucks in, my knee moves to bring it to this side of me.
It feels like you create space for the elbow, like if I'm like 90 kilos.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. I mean, if the person is significantly heavier and it goes wrong, so if you bring the hand in front of the thing, what's likely to happen is I get to here and then I just get stuck and I end up here and here or something like that. That's still far better than having this hand trapped. But I can't, if I try and do something with it and I fail and then my arm gets trapped inside the body, I'm just completely dead here. They're going to just peel my face thing from the side. So if the person's way, way heavier, tuck it. If I can't move him at all, generally you're going to try and bring your other knee inside, place a knee shield, and then try to move back out again to there, or something like that. That's a whole separate thing. But yeah, in general, just focus on that elbow positioning, and that's sliding around him by just tucking across your body. A little bit of a nudge, go to this side, and if you want to go back, go to that side. Just always working around them. We've already done the hard part, which is bringing their weight forwards. Everything else just follows off that. All good, last thing. Go, on 3, 1, 2, 3. They make this underhook really, really hard to get. Set up attacks because he's giving me the space, or he is rubbish, at which point I get the underhook and I win, or he's neither of these things and he leaves his elbow tight here and he doesn't sit forward too much. So I can't get an overhook on it, I can't attack it, and I can't get the underhook here either. So in that case, I begin to move a bit more towards this side, and because I realise this option isn't there right now, it's just too closed away, and I start to attack towards this side. Again, half guard is a very reactive kind of guard. You can't fully control what he's going to do. Again, I can't stop him moving one way or the other. I have to have the correct answer for what he does. It's not like closed guard where you just know where he is and you can set things up. So again, if he chooses to do something completely out of nowhere, I need to have the correct response. If I have the correct response, I'll get ahead of him. If I don't, I'll get behind him. It's pretty much that way. So, yeah, if I can't make anything happen on this side, I basically move to this side here, I move around here, and now, generally it's hard for him to rotate further because of where my legs are, so naturally the response is usually the leaning forwards, or again, he just tries to stay here, it's fine. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm just diving to the side, he's not used to defending, and then I can make a little leg work happen afterwards. Again, if you feel really uncomfortable with it, the lockdown works really, really well for giving you some time to think about what you're doing. Yeah, it's hard to get here when you have the lockdown first, because you're kind of too tied in, but you can do it either way. So you can start with a lockdown, potentially sometimes if you smash it flat, and you can work in and say, okay, it's possible, harder than possible. But yeah, in general, so you have a bunch of different ways to approach. This is just a whole way of attacking this side of the body, which most people don't do. And once you can get that first hook in on the other side, most people have a really, really hard time defending, and it's one of the 2 or 3 things I have the most success with in competition and training against legit, genuine black belts with tough stuff. Honest. Okay, that's basically it, guys. Any questions, you can grab it at the beginning of the open mat and I'll be rolling afterwards, but thank you very much. Just work on it a little bit, try and fit it into your game. It's going to go wrong the first few times, that's to be expected, any new technique, but keep working on it. It gives you a whole new line of attack you can slot into whatever you were previously doing. All good, guys?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.